World football in association with Western Union Money Transfer.
More than a kick in the grass. This week on World Football, the climax of the very first season of the US Women's Professional League. He survived an attempt on his life to lead Ecuador to the brink of World Cup qualification. We meet Hernan Dario Gomez. And it's all changed in Valencia. No Hector Cooper, no Gais Comendieta. So what next for the remodeled Champions League finalists? It was the climax of the inaugural season of the American Women's Professional Soccer League. The Atlanta Beat versus the Bay Area Cyber Rays in the first Women's United Soccer Association Grand Final. Since it kicked off in April, the league has been a huge success. Over 700,000 fans attending games. World Cup hero Brandi Chastain, together with a host of international stars, have made the dream of a women's professional league in America a reality.
For me, definitely a dream come true. I know for all my teammates, definitely dreams come true. But it's been tough. It's been tough, and you know, I think that's been the most gratifying, is to actually be around in the era where women's soccer just shot through the roof.
The Women's Professional League has turned a whole new generation of fans onto soccer in the US. Grassroots marketing and community initiatives have developed a solid fan base for the league. But above all, it's the entertainment, the quality of play on pitch that has made the league the hottest ticket in town.
We don't compete with your regular audience. We don't compete with men's soccer. We don't compete with football or baseball. We have our own fan base, which are 10-year-old to 15-year-old kids and their families. And I think you'll find that when you come to our game, it's a total different atmosphere.
As it kicked off 5 months ago, hundreds of young hopefuls tried out for the league. The lucky chosen few joining established international stars like Mia Hamm and Tiffany Milbrett in one of 8 newly established clubs. With the US women's national team winning the World Cup in 1999 and the success of the new league, soccer in the States has never been as popular.
Fans are connecting with this competition on the field, and we think that women's soccer has a great way to introduce the American public. They did it in '96 and in 1999 to the whole sport of soccer. I think a lot of people got introduced to the game through their kids, and if they're girls, there's a special connection with the Women's League.
The WUSA is a truly international league. A World Cup finalist with China, Sun Wen, has thrived in the States. She was confident her team, the Atlanta Beat, would emerge victorious in the grand final.
Play hard, play with the mental and the heart. I think we will give the best performance in this game.
Whatever the result, the new league has broken new ground for both women and the sport.
When I was young, you didn't dream about being a professional soccer player when you were a woman. I guess for the men's it's very different, but now the young girls can start dreaming about it because they know it's possible, so that's important.
The Foxborough Stadium in Boston was the venue for the first ever grand final, and the Atlanta Beat and Bay Area Cyber Rays produced a game worthy of the occasion. It took only 6 minutes for the Cyber Rays to open the scoring. Kelly Lindsay with the finish. Beat striker Charmaine Hooper carved out an opening for Kylie Bivens to put Atlanta back on level terms. And Charmaine Hooper was again on hand to put Atlanta into the lead. The 12th goal of the season for their top scorer. Australian international Julie Murray drew it level 2 minutes before the break, coolly rounding Brianna Scurry in the Atlanta goal. Second half substitute Sun Wen showed her international class, firing home to make the score 3-2 to the Beat. But again, a searching free kick caused panic in the Atlanta defence. Tisha Venturi pouncing for a late equaliser, the game going to extra time. No more goals, though, took the match to penalties. A miss from Sun Wen meant Julie Murray could clinch the trophy for the Cyber Rays, and she kept a cool head to slot the kick home. The Bay Area Cyber Rays, the WUSA champions of 2001.
This trophy is more important to me than a gold medal and a world championship because of the significance of having a league means. It's every year, it's not every 4 years. It means stadiums full of young girls who have a chance to dream about being a professional soccer player.
Valencia, the new powerhouse of Spanish football. They've taken on Europe's elite to come within touching distance of lifting club football's most glittering prize. Champions League runners-up 2 years in a row. But has the sun set now on Valencia's European ambitions? Defeated Barcelona on the last day of the season meant Valencia finished 5th in the league, and no Champions League football. An ideal time, perhaps, to reflect on just how far the club have come, though, in recent seasons.
Yes, I think for the last 2 years, Valencia's name has been heard a lot around Europe. We've got a lot of prestige out of the Champions League, and I still think we can be considered one of Europe's big teams.
This season's aim must be to get back among the continent's elite. Perhaps they're not wise to sell your star player, Gaisca Mendieta, to Lazio, or indeed lose your coach, Hector Cooper, to Inter. But it's no time to panic, yet.
Valencia have lost their president, Pedro Cortés, their captain, Gaisca Mendieta, and their trainer, Hector Cooper, a man who brought them to 2 European Cup finals in the last 2 years. They were very important. They were the 3 main characters at the club. But at the moment, it's like sit back, relax. They're great people in the history of the club, but this isn't going to change Valencia. We're still going to be a threat in Europe and the league.
There's no doubt that some fans are pleased at Couper's departure. His team were criticised for being too cautious, relying on a long ball game. The players, though, are quick to defend the coach.
I think the coach's philosophy was good. You can profit from a good defence. The public, the fans are begging, we must attack more. Maybe this year we can do it. I don't know.
The man with the unenviable task of following Couper is Rafael Benitez. He's determined to carry on the success of his predecessor.
He formed a good team, and that's what I'd like to do, to benefit from all the good things he brought to the club. And if we can, we'll play a little bit more positively, but always respect the good things we had before.
With Mendieta gone, the former Tenerife coach will be relying on Argentine flair to provide attacking impetus. Responsibility weighs heavily on the shoulders of Pablo Aimar and Kili Gonzalez, but tradition is on their side. The likes of Mario Kempes, Alfredo Di Stefano, and more recently, of course, Claudio Lopez, are all past Argentine heroes of the Mestalla Stadium.
Valencia have always had contact with great Argentinian players. It's true the majority have come through here and made a great impression. It's a good thing.
The opening day of the new season would provide a stiff test for the new look, new style Valencia. It couldn't have been harder. Spanish champions Real Madrid arrived to the usual frenzied welcome, newly armed with their $70-odd million man, World Footballer of the Year, Zinedine Zidane. As kick-off approached, Valencia were psyching themselves up. Spain's best-known mascot, Manolo del Bombo, in charge of whipping up the crowd. And Valencia didn't disappoint. Attacking from the kick-off, and with just 9 minutes gone, Miguel Angel Angulo was in the right place at the right time to score. That one goal was to prove enough. A 1-0 victory and an excellent start for the new regime. The fans clearly impressed with their team's first performance and their new coach.
Much more attacking, less defensive than Coupe.
Valencia with Coupe was a lot different. They played a lot more from the back, but with Benitez they were up there attacking, like a team should play.
On first impressions, the style of football is more to the fans' liking. Whether Valencia will be as effective or as successful remains to be seen.
Still to come, Hernan Dario Gomez, the man who could lead Ecuador to their first ever World Cup finals appearance. And we meet Leandro Romagnoli, the latest Argentine prodigy, heading for Europe.
But first, a question. Valencia have been the surprise package of European football over the past 2 years. But when was the last time they won the Spanish League title? The answer after the break. Welcome back. Before the break, we asked you when Valencia last won the Spanish Primera Liga title. The answer 30 years ago in 1971.
May the 8th, 2001. An attempt is made on the life of Ecuador national coach Hernan Dario Gomez. Approached at a restaurant, Gomez suffers an horrendous assault. Rumours spread the attacker was angry at the exclusion of a senior politician's son from the national youth squad.
There were about 6 guys with weapons and they started hitting us. They hit me here and broke my nose. Then I passed out, so I don't remember anything else.
Gomez was also shot in the leg. He's lucky to be alive. He fled to his native Colombia, where he offered his resignation, afraid that a return to Ecuador would lead to another, perhaps fatal, attack. The people of Ecuador were devastated, and they feared that the loss of their coach would spell the end of their World Cup dreams. 3 of their star players even threatened to quit if he didn't return. But they needn't have worried. The man dubbed the Professor soon announced his courageous decision to go back. Fans celebrated in the streets, his key players stayed, and now Ecuador are on the brink of qualifying for their first ever World Cup final.
Thank goodness the Professor is back. He's got the whole team behind him and he's keeping us united.
Ecuador have always been seen as minnows in the world of international football. Living in the shadow of neighbours Brazil and Argentina, they won just 8 matches between 1938 and 1975. The nearest they came to World Cup success was back in 1965. Defeat against Chile in a qualifier meant they just missed out on the finals in England the following year. With just 3 games remaining, Ecuador are set to qualify for next year's World Cup finals. Victories over Brazil and Paraguay have shown that they're no longer the whipping boys of South American football. And the arrival of Gomez has been instrumental in Ecuador's change of fortunes. He was appointed as coach 2 years ago, having led Colombia to France '98. So he has the track record, and his current players are quick to praise his contribution.
He brought everything together. I believe that if the carriages of a train are moving, it's because there is an engine pulling them at the front, and all the parts are then moving together.
He creates a good atmosphere around him, and that reflects on us and motivates us. The professor has a joy of living that is infectious.
Striker Agustin Delgado has been the key to success. Ecuador's top scorer in the Copa America has been central to the World Cup campaign, netting 8 of 17 goals scored, including the vital winner against Brazil back in March. His partner up front, Ivan Caviedes, may have scored just 1 goal in the tournament so far, but he's been in sensational form. His creative instinct is an integral part of Ecuador's campaign.
The Ecuadorian player is humble, intelligent, and assesses situations quickly. He's impressive and has a good understanding of tactics. What he lacks is concentration, consistency, and more goals. But he's getting there.
World Cup qualification would be a huge boost for this poor country. A lack of financial support at grassroots level has hindered the development of football, and coaching resources have been scarce. The talent of youngsters has been squandered. Even the country's elite clubs bear the scars of years of underfunding. But there are signs that things are improving. Football coaching centres are being set up with emphasis on work with children and teenagers. Although these initiatives are in their infancy, they're already starting to bear fruit. The machine is in motion to find Ecuador stars of tomorrow. Today, people can look forward to watching their heroes perform on the greatest stage of all. Coach Hernan Dario Gomez nearly didn't see it happen, but the professor could be on the verge of making history. Ecuador are within touching distance of glory.
I take one day at a time. The important thing for me at the moment is to achieve something with Ecuador, to have taught them joy, positive thinking, helping them feel good about things. And to represent Ecuador in a World Cup, that would be ideal.
This week, our Football Cities guide comes from southern Germany, Bavaria's capital Munich, a cosmopolitan city with a rich history, renowned for its architecture, motor cars, beer halls, and arguably above all, football. One of the city's most striking buildings, the Olympic Stadium. Built in 1972, this unique structure holds 69,000 fans and is home for Munich's 2 biggest football clubs. Bayern Munich are, of course, the most successful. Established in 1900, they've dominated German football in recent times. 17 Bundesliga trophies in the last 32 years alone. It's the home of legends like Franz Beckenbauer, and the tradition continues today with coach Ottmar Hitzfeld, who successfully won the European Cup last season for the 4th time in the club's history. With the likes of Effenberg, Hargreaves and Kahn in the team, the fans' expectations are running high. The Olympic Stadium also plays host to 1860 Munich. Established as a sports club, they've had mixed success. 1860 qualified for last season's Champions League, but they finished a disappointing 11th in the Bundesliga. This season, they've already been knocked out of the Intertoto Cup. They did have league and cup success in the 1960s, but European qualification must be their only realistic goal this season. A 10-kilometre drive away from Munich takes us to Unterhaching, the region's 3rd club. Based at the modest Stadion Sportpark, Unterhaching has competed in the Bundesliga for the last 2 seasons, but in May they suffered relegation. Although obviously not as affluent as their illustrious rivals, the club still reflects the pride and independence of the area.
3rd club in Munich? I don't think so. Unterhaching has a community all of its own that's not part of Munich. Therefore, it's not a problem that 3 clubs play within the area.
With the incentive of a return to the Olympic Stadium, Unterhaching's main aim has now got to be promotion. Home of the European champions, 3 flourishing football clubs, Munich is arguably Germany's most ambitious and successful footballing heartland.
It's a classic football story. A boy from a working-class district becomes a star. For most of us, it will always remain nothing more than a dream. For Leandro Romagnoli, though, it's a story that came true. At just 20 years of age, Romagnoli is the captain of the Argentine champions, San Lorenzo. Clearly, he's a man going places.
Romagnoli is a revelation. He is a player of great talent. He has great technique. He's creative and he scores goals. He has a fierce shot. He is certainly the linchpin of the Argentinian under-20 side.
He is a great player with an important future in front of him. He is tactically very good as well. He is a player who can change the course of a game. He has a good change of pace and a good shot with either foot.
Romagnoli hasn't only caught the attention of his fellow countrymen. Bayer Leverkusen have snapped up the midfielder along with San Lorenzo teammate Bernardo Romeo. The pair will be moving to Germany at the end of the Argentine season in December.
I've always dreamt of going abroad, but I'm sure I would miss my country. Many players who go abroad have problems adapting to a different sort of game and to a different style of life. But once a player is old enough, he must take responsibility and deliver.
Born in Buenos Aires, Romagnoli grew up in Nueva Pompeia, a southern suburb of the city. He hasn't forgotten his roots, which are humble, honest and sincere. Football has always played a big part in his life. To San Lorenzo supporters, he is, and always will be, their star.
My career started when I was very young, with infant football at a club here in my neighbourhood. I was only 5 or 6. A scout from San Lorenzo came. He asked my father whether he wanted me to have a trial there. So I went, and I'm still here.
The 1980s were a golden era for Argentine football. In '86, aged just 5, Romagnoli watched Argentina become world champions, captaining the side, a hero to an entire generation.
Maradona was my icon. He was the best. I think all players were inspired by him. They saw him and learnt from him. I think he's everybody's idol.
Romagnoli now finds himself following the likes of Pablo Aimar to Europe. With the Argentine economy in free fall, the sale of young talent remains a necessity for clubs in order to survive.
Recently, players who have just come up from the youth teams are immediately sold abroad. They have no time to enjoy their football. This was the case with Pablo Aimar, who was sold at a very young age. It would be good to have players stay a bit longer and give the home crowds a chance to enjoy their talent.
Bayer Leverkusen know a good player when they see one. The Brazilian trio of Emerson, Zé Roberto and Zé Elias all made their names at the Bay Arena. Much will be expected of Romagnoli. He intends to impress on the bigger stage and has plenty of role models as an inspiration.
I look at the guys who play in my position, especially Ariel Ortega and Pablo Aimar. I think they're great players, and just by watching them, I can learn.
Romagnoli has no shortage of admirers in Argentina. Among them former San Lorenzo captain Néstor Gorosito. He lost his place to the young midfielder, but couldn't help but become a fan.
To me, it's a great honour to have met him when he was a kid. When he first joined the starting 11, he shared a room with me. It was an honour.
A hero for his exploits with San Lorenzo. Already a world champion at youth level. Equally at home in a packed stadium or a park kickabout. Leandro Romagnoli, the bright new star of Argentine football. Africa get to host the greatest show on earth. Next week on World Football, a special report from South Africa on their bid to host the 2010 World Cup Finals.
And they changed their name, moved ground and received a lottery windfall. We tell the fairy tale story of Scotland's Livingston FC. We'll see you then.
World Football in association with Western Union Money Transfer.